Hello again, everybody. This is Comic Book Hangover. It is Thursday. Means once again it's time for my weekly haul, weekly review video. So let's just jump straight into it this week. So now the first couple of books I want to talk about, they're kind of the same thing. Now I often on my channel here talk about being willing to go to your comic shop and try something new. Like if you have a small week, if there's a new number one on your LCS's rack, pick it up and see. And you might be pleasantly surprised. I mean, there's been more times than not I've been surprised with books that turned out to be pretty good. Radiant Black, Something is Killing the Children, and even miniseries like Barbaric was a surprisingly fun miniseries. But you also are on the risk of picking up a number one issue that it isn't for you. It could be just the story isn't what you want. It's not. Well, let me just get to it. Okay, let me just get to it. Buckhead, number one from Boombox. And this is a story about a kid who moves into a town. And I don't know, weird stuff happens, sort of like an Erie, Indiana type thing. A kid moves into town, it's just kind of a weird thing, but it's not for me. I'll just say it like that. It's not for me. I read it and was just like, this really isn't that interesting to me. Now, however, one thing that is interesting is the art. I don't know if it'll pick up here on the camera or not, but you can see the way they do the shading on some of these spots, it's just lines going across. And that, to me, I mean, the art style was very good. I really liked the art in this book, but the story I really didn't much care for. There is, a little bit of mystery. There is a little bit of intrigue, but it's just like the ball kind of gets rolling a little bit quicker than I would have liked. Kind of like to have, a little bit more character development before we jump into what is happening. But it is from Boombox, which is it is an imprint that's geared towards a younger readership. So, I mean, it's essentially these kids discover that there's a sort of a video game that mimics their hometown and may have some control over their town. So if you're in the video games, this might be a book to check out. Buckhead number one from Boombox. I don't know if it's probably a miniseries, but as with a lot of these publishers these days, they don't like to tell how many issues are in a miniseries. They just put them out, number one, number two, number three, and that's kind of annoying. The next one, it's kind of the same thing. It was a number one issue. It's from Vault. I picked it up. Great cover. I absolutely love this cover. Lunaroom number one. But, again, the story was just kind of blah. Apparently she's a werewolf or was a werewolf and she can't change anymore. Of course, I had to, get into certain things that, just were not that important to divulge in the first issue about her. Her leanings, so to speak. But I don't know, it's just that another book where just the characters just weren't that interesting. The story it didn't flow very well. And, the art was okay. But, I mean, really overall, this was another one of those books that, you win some, you lose some, basically. And again, just let me just say, this is my opinion. These are my opinions and my opinions only. If you've read these books and you liked them, in the comments down below, tell me what it is about these books that you liked. Maybe, and I'm willing to say, maybe I'm looking at it from the wrong perspective. Maybe I read it from a wrong angle or whatever. But, let me know. If you read Lunaroom or Buckhead, first issues came out last week, let me know what you thought about them and why you liked them. What was it about those books that you liked? And, I'd be more than willing to maybe give it another chance, reread them again and see if maybe with a different perspective, a different mindset might click. This next one, I wasn't planning on reading this one. This is Batman number 118, which I only picked up because it homages Spawn number one, which, and that homaged Spider-Man number one. So it's an homage of an homage of an homage, or it's just an homage of Spider-Man number one, whatever. It's just an homage book, which is unusual for Batman comic. Batman is one of those series that always makes the standard covers. It doesn't copy other people's covers, which I always kind of appreciated about Batman comics. But I figured, what the heck, I'll pick it up. This is the first issue of a storyline called Abyss. It's going to run through the next 3 issues after this one. It picks up after this whole thing with Scarecrow, this Fear State event, and they kind of drop Fear State, and they make references to how Gotham. After these events happen, Gotham will celebrate the fact that hey, Batman saved our bacon once again before we go on to the next crisis, and it's interesting to see Batman's reaction to actually being openly celebrated. I mean, he's always kind of celebrated by Gotham City, but he's not so openly celebrated as he is in this book here. And I don't know, we've got a new writer. There's a new writing team on here, and there's a new art team, and it's pretty decent. I mean, I don't think I'm going to jump back on Batman with this one issue. It's just, I have a lot of books going right now, a lot of miniseries and whatnot, and there's a She-Hulk coming up. There's the new Ghost Rider series coming up. So, you gotta kind of level out what I'm picking up. But I gotta say, for the first issue of a new direction and new art, new creative team, it was really good. It was a very, very entertaining issue. And if you're one of those Batman fans that kind of lapsed in the bat and you're looking for a time and a place to jump in, Batman 118 would be the time to do it and the place to do it. Excuse me. They're really dry around here. All right, next one is going to be Mighty Morphin number 14, and I was right. This is Zordon. Boy's got a body again. So we go through a little bit more of Zordon's origin in this issue as after his containment pod or tube or whatever was destroyed in the last issue, his consciousness sort of spread across the Morphin grid or whatever. So you got Billy and the Blue Ranger's emissary going through his memories, going through the Morphin grid, trying to get his consciousness back together, because Billy has a plan, and the plan is this suit right here. So it's another fun issue. It's kind of one of those, when we have these big events, you have to have the issue that's sort of the lull, where you just kind of get to take a breath and just kind of get your bearings, because a lot of crap just happened and we need to get our footing. And this is that issue. Doesn't mean that it's a bad issue. It's a very well done story. It's progressing it. It's giving us an idea, a way of bringing Zordon back into the whole thing. As a sort of a side story, Goldar and Babu, and basically the henchmen of Rita, former henchmen of Rita, former henchmen of Zed, are faced with sort of a dilemma now that Rita's gone and Zed is temporarily gone. What do they do? And they've come to the conclusion that probably what the best thing to do is to join the Rangers to sort of get revenge for what happened to Zed. And it kind of gives a little bit more depth to those characters, because you kind of see that they do understand what they are and what their function is. They understand that they're always losing, and they do admit that the only reason why they stuck with Zed is because they were all terrified of him, except for Goldar. Goldar is getting to be a very, very interesting character. They don't focus on him a whole lot, but they keep dropping snippets that there's more to that character than what we've known up to this point. The conversations between him and the Red Ranger are always very interesting in the Power Rangers comics. And last up from last week, I'm so glad this finally came out, Silver Coin number 7, the former miniseries that is now an ongoing anthology horror series focusing on the Silver Coin. This is one of those books. Every issue is a different story focusing on the Silver Coin. And I'm beginning to wonder if there's more than one of these coins, because it seems to always just pop up everywhere. But we get not only a really sort of a bittersweet story with the coin, we also kind of get a hint that there's more to the coin than just a cursed piece of metal, that it might be something more. There might be something in. Now, we've seen the eye in the coin open and close from time to time, but one of the characters in this one, who essentially turns out to be the bad guy of the issue, gets the coin and refers to it as brother, which adds a little bit more mystique, a little bit more mystery to the whole idea of the silver coin and what exactly the hell it is. And it's been a great series so far. I've enjoyed the hell out of it. It's been a lot of fun. So now this week's books, I only got 3. only got 3 books this week. It seems like I was supposed to get more. I think some of my books got delayed. I tend to not really... Like I'll check the previews lists to see what comes up in the week. Because I also do the previews posts for my LCS, kind of help them out. But once I do that, I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna go down and get my books. So there's a lot of times by the time I do those previews and I get down to my LCS on Wednesday, I've kind of forgotten what books have come out or are supposed to come out. So I'm pretty sure that there were some books that were supposed to be out this week that were on my list that I didn't get. Which hopefully, actually, I don't know if I want to do them next week or not, because I checked the list for next week and I've got like 7 books coming out, including 1 variant. Well, 7 books plus 1 variant coming out next week. So it's going to be a nice sized week. So it'll make up for the fact that I only got 3. And actually, one of these I picked up because it was a variant cover and I liked it. So now before I get into these 3 little books here, let's talk about my Monday video, my best of 2021. This week I'm gonna do sort of a like a Welcome Back Kotter book. And there's only four characters that came back, 4 characters and concepts that came back in 2021. Either long term, short term, it doesn't matter. It's something, things I haven't seen myself in a while. And was really happy to see them back and just totally geeked about it and excited. And so we're going to talk about these 4 books, sort of like a Welcome Back Kotter Best of 2021 video. Going to go live on Monday. Of course, next week, again, we're going to have next Thursday is going to be my weekly haul video. The next weekend, of course, Christmas. So, let's show off the 3 measly books that I picked up this week. And the first one is going to be the Batman Adventures Continue Season 2, number 7 of 7, standard covered. This wraps up the 7-issue miniseries, and this also wraps up my tenure in the Batman The Adventures Continue line of books. If they do another one, I'm not sticking with them. I might get it in the trade, but the first one was really good. This one, it had a moment there where it just totally fell apart, but it has built back again. But it's a concept that's run its course, is in my own humble opinion. So next up, this one's actually a reprint, facsimile edition from Marvel, Conan the Barbarian number 1, which I believe I have the True Believer for this. Yeah, I do have the True Believer for this. So I have a $1 reprint, and now I have the facsimile reprint for this, but not the original. So I guess maybe I should try to get the original. And the last one is a variant cover. This is The Thing number 2. This is the Kevin Eastman variant. Didn't know he had a variant for this one. Saw it down the LCS, and actually I like the way this looks. If Kevin Eastman were to do a Thing one-shot or miniseries, I do believe I would check that out. Sorry, we're in the midst of a windstorm here in Michigan, and that was a pretty mighty big breeze that just went through. So anyway, that's it. We're going to wrap this up before the house gets blown down. As always, if you watched this far in the video, and if you like comic books at all, go ahead and like the video, comment, subscribe, hit that notification button, share the video, do all that fun stuff, and I will see everybody on Monday with Welcome Back Kotter books. Have a good weekend.